Introducing aPriori.
My name is Daniel Rosner. Work with value engineering at Scania R&D, mainly responsible for aPriori for the engineers at the R&D department. First of all, I will present our company, a little bit about our products. Then we will deep into how we do our product planning and also in regards to sustainability, to the LCA. And then finally, which is the really good part then, how we combine cost and CO2 calculations. Okay. Yeah, this smiling man there, there's our CEO, Christian Levin. He's aware of that we are selling trucks in the heavy segment, also buses. He's also the CEO of Traton. And in Traton, you also have Navistar, MAN, and Volkswagen Truck and Bus. So it's a really strong alliance there. We're very much into sustainable transport systems. We also done this journey from a typical product supplier to offering complete solutions now, transport solutions. Here are some pictures of our products. You have the trucks there. It's in the heavy segment, mostly long haulage trucks. You have the buses and coaches, and then of course we have a high integration. We do a lot of stuff on our own. Like the powertrain with the engines, with the gearboxes. So we also sell those engines and put them in marine applications or wheel loaders or power generators. And then it's not only those physical products, it's also, delivering value to the customers, very much about the fleet management, all the connected trucks today, all the services that we can offer. And we also have this financial as well. Okay, looking a little bit about the figures here. We were founded in 1891, started with bicycles, but then in the beginning of 1900 we switched to the transport industry, starting with trucks, and we have been there ever since. We're proud of that we had the last red figures in 1934. This is the 1,500 service points. It's also that we're owning our own service point network and can offer that to our customers. If you look at the net sales, this is 2020. It was a little bit lower then, but it's approximately $12.5 billion. And the R&D spend is then $0.65 billion. I would say one of the success of Scania is that we were really early with working with modularization. So we have very few part number components compared to our competitors, which we can create many variants of a truck or a bus. We were also in the 90s. We invested really heavy in the Scania production system, influenced by Toyota. Yeah. Okay, here's some examples of what's been happening for the last years here. We have introduced a new ICE, a new 13-liter engine. It's 8% less fuel consumption than the previous version. The engine combined with a new gearbox, I would say. And then we're also investing heavily in electrification. And right now we are building a new assembly factory for building batteries. And yeah, there's some initiatives there going. And we're very proud that we won this 5th Green Truck Award. It's a really extensive test of truck about the fuel consumption. And this was actually the previous generation that we have. So with the new one, it will be even better. And we also got this gold rating for sustainability work. So there's a lot of things going on, and it feels that we are really going in the right direction. I also want to mention that, I'm from Sweden. We have our head office in Sweden. We have a lot of, our R&D, a lot of production, but we are also really global with production in Latin America, soon in China. So we're all over the world. Okay. So let's go over how we work with our technical product planning. This is how we plan. We put targets on our development projects. That we have these 10 product properties. So the idea is that if we're going to do this project, then there has to be an improvement in one or several of those properties. And underneath there, you have the vehicle properties as well. Then, so that is really important in our project, so that you can see an improvement, and of course that the customer can make a higher profitability as well. It's highlighted the product sustainability. So we have the life cycle climate impact. There's another example there, the sound emissions. There's people working with the sound, external sound around the truck. Okay, so if we look at this model, here we can see, if you start to the left there, we have invested in people that have this expertise, competence. We have an LCA model today that works pretty okay. We do some benchmarking, and all those information we put into this product sustainability property then. So there we have a lot of learnings and understandings of how we can improve. And then, of course, if you look below the circle there, you have local emissions. So that is basically, it could be different depending on which market you are on, that you have those legislations, and etc., that you also have to fulfill. But they are not properties in that sense. They have to be fulfilled. And all that goes in our projects. We have the roadmap, of course, but and that, I'm working in the project, so that really concerns me there. That we get this information into the projects, and when we're doing the right things, then we get this. Then we will fulfill our corporate targets that we have on in this case for sustainability. But there has been a gap, because during the project we had no possibility to monitor what we are doing, and I really hope that aPriori we will fulfill that. But by doing all those calculations and in all those decisions meetings, etc., every time when you take a decision, you go to the next generation, etc., and there we will put aPriori. Yes. Okay, so this is our LCA approach. We have invested in people that had this competence. We have a lot of connected data. Our first truck was connected in 2011. Then in 2015-16, almost 100% of all sold trucks are connected. So there we get some data that we can work with. And it's, I mentioned it yesterday in this panel that if you look at the whole life cycle, then 90% on an ICE truck at least comes from when the truck is in use by the customer. So that, of course, then it's good to have this input. We're connected that with Gabi data. We get some material data as well that we can connect. And we also, with all this knowledge, we try to typical Scania that we work cross-functional in the company. And I really hope to see aPriori here as well. It's The Scania R&D, I mean, it's 3,500 people working there. We have currently 40 licenses, so it's too early to change. It's too few licenses, I would say. Okay. So going into how we work with the CO2 calculations, this picture is a little bit looking in the mirror. I mean, why we started to work with aPriori. So if you look here, you see the turtle, and it indicates, of course, that this is a pretty slow process. That we did the design, we did the FAM analysis, we were happy, we sent it out to the purchaser sent it out to the supplier. We waited maybe 3-4 weeks, then we got the reply of the cost. And then we did it a couple of times. And that, of course, it takes a long time. Quite normal when you got the cost feedback, the time is, you're so far away in the project that it's really hard to do something to improve. So you only have to accept it. So then our idea that we're going with aPriori, that, I mean, okay, then we can get the analysis right away, and for sure we can save at least one loop here. By sending this, also a DFM prepared design as well, so then we can save a loop. Okay, but that was maybe 4 or 5 years ago. What happened since then? It's extremely fast development in the business. There's new competitors coming here. Traditionally, we were competing with the bigger ones in Europe. Everything was pretty predictable. You made a slightly better engine. And that you did for so many years, but now it's it's much more open. It's much more it's different, and that's why we quite recently we switched to the lean agile working methods from the software development because we need to be faster and we need to be much more innovative. And that means that the shortest sprints are 2 weeks. So now it's really simulation driven. Now we really need aPriori to be able, because there's no chance that we can go to a supplier and manage that in such a short time. I think this is avoid the cost and the CO2 just happen as a result of the rest of the properties fulfillment. I've seen that so much that you focus on fulfilling all the strengths, analyze at everything that you put on the part, but then the cost just it just happens, and you cannot do anything with it. So, I mean, here you really need aPriori to have this in the same time as you do all the other analysis. And I would also say that. Since we're moving to this lean agile working method, we had some change management opening our hearts. And then one designer said that, this working with time and cost, that really kills all creativity. And I've been at R&D now for a couple of years, and it's okay when you go to the manager. They're really aware of all the targets, etc. But when you go to the designers, you will find no interest in costs at all. It will be, it will kill the creativity, I guess. And what I want to say with that, I think aPriori is, I mean, it's really, when you use aPriori, you will see it will be much more interesting. I mean, we run these education sessions, and I can see among the users that they find it interesting. So I think that's an aspect as well, that you add something to this topic that's maybe will not come natural to a designer. I don't know if you agree with me, but okay. This was 2 years ago. I had 2 smarter colleagues than me, Lars and Lars. They come up simultaneously with this idea of hey, can't we do CO2 calculations in aPriori? So we reached out to aPriori. We had this first pilot, and we started with die casting sheet metal. Die casting and plastic molding, and it was really good. And then we quickly came to the conclusion that this really works. So this is, I mean, what we have done in our pilot. I mean, we have seen much nicer pictures today of the development of this one. We were in contact with our plastic suppliers there, so we could start to simulate if you run recycled plastic materials, etc. So there were some new findings actually. We start to understand the impact of the cycle time. And we saw, I mean, when you speak about cost, then maybe, at least in Europe, then the cost is not a big issue when it comes to electricity. It's only a few % of the total cost on the plastic part. But suddenly, when you look at the CO2 impact, it has a much greater impact. So there were some findings there. We created some report. We added this that we could change we could play around with different, coal production, wind, etc. That was really interesting. I just want to talk short about, I mean, I told you that we have this data set method. This is how we have done it at Scania, and it's just the comparison there. That the dataset method is, then we're using, in this case, the GABI. There's other as well. And we try to connect it to data that we have from produced trucks. And it works pretty good. You get the rough figure of the truck's footprint. It's more of a for specialists, because you connect a lot of data, and you have a lot of mismatches that you manually have to handle. And that's why I like with aPriori, because it really fills this gap that we're missing in our projects. And it's using the same structure as the costing, so it's really good. And then I cannot speak for all those data set methods, but when I look into GABI, I mean, there's some, you don't get all the details in your result. And that's, of course, an advantage with aPriori, where you can do more accurate calculations. Okay, how does the future look like? We have this, basically every truck that we produce, we say that they are unique. There are so many ways you can order a truck. So, and that means that we have this product structure. So, and that's normally, this product structure, it connects all the part numbers. It's a system where you can see all the part numbers. You can ask questions how you want your truck. And this is always a challenge in our development project, that it's just a couple of months before SOP or SOCOP, then it's ready. And I see the opportunity here to connect this data to let's say, the aPriori generate, for instance. So then you can really specify a truck with this, and then connect it to aPriori generate. We also, I guess most of you have connected materials in your 3D. We will doing that right now, so the user don't have to pick a material. It comes directly from the 3D. I hope within 2 years we will have tolerances. I told you before that we're doing a lot ourselves, and that means a lot of casted parts in gearboxes and engines. So that's why we need, it will be a big improvement if we get the tolerances to do the machining calculations. And that will be especially important with the AP design, I would say. And then we have LCA. Then we have a lot of data that we can connect. I would like to see it in aPriori. Those 90% that or whatever that you have to have the full picture when you take your decisions. So add more LCA data in aPriori, the Scania one. Okay, and then finally, our plan is to expand with the aPriori design. As I mentioned, we have only 40 licenses today, so it's hard to get a big impact in our organization with only 40 licenses. We have been waiting a little bit to all the updates with the aPriori design, but that's for sure the way to go, which is a much more suitable interface for the designers. And I also would like to see the aPriori generate in the future as well. But I think for us, we have to mature first in what we're doing to be confident in AP design. Okay.
Thank you,
aPriori, making profitability and sustainability a reality for a better world.